So the business issue for me is really how are we preparing our communicators for all the challenges they face in today's world.
I think one of the biggest business issues that we're grappling with is employee engagement. Southwest Airlines has an iconic corporate culture, but we also recognize that with 60,000 employees and being nearly 50 years old, we have representatives over 5 generations who all think differently and want different things from their employment experience. So part of the challenge for us as communicators is figuring out how best to engage those employees for as long as they want to be a part of the Southwest Airlines family.
One issue that really keeps me awake at night is diversity and whether our industry is continuing to make the strides and the commitments that we have to do so that the work we do is relevant to the stakeholders that we're trying to engage with. And we've made good progress, but I think it's a long journey. There's a lot of work to be done. And unless we can make that progress, that's going to continue to keep me awake at night.
So trust is a really big deal, and as a publicly traded company, we're focused and we help the organization focus on a multiple of stakeholders. So we want to know what our employees think and feel. We want to know what the regulators for our industry think and feel. We want to know what the news media is thinking. We want to know what the social influencers are talking about. We want to know what our customers are looking for in their travel experience. So we are taking active efforts to do a lot of listening across those multiple stakeholder groups, and then being able to weave that into our corporate narrative and into our storytelling, because people don't just want to know, are you a good airline? Do you offer low fares? But how are you involved in the community? How are you giving back? What social causes do you want to stand up and represent? And so we're making sure that we have stories built around all of that because of the demands of our multiple stakeholders.
I think the trust level is the worst we've ever seen. Not only a lack of trust in big institutions in the U.S. and around the world, lack of trust in the news media. We do an annual poll on who do people trust for political news and information, and it shows for the second year in a row that people trust friends and family most for political news. The news media has now dropped into 3rd place. There are more Americans who don't trust the news media for political information. Let me pause so you can absorb that for a minute. They don't trust the news media for political information. Actually, in 2nd place are now associations. I think even though associations can be controversial if they take a position you don't agree with, by and large they balance each other's out, and they're not as polarized as the news media. And then right behind news media is business. So I think the lesson for your audience is that if you work in the nonprofit sector or the for-profit sector, don't be afraid to talk about politics to your employees and other important stakeholders, because they just might well listen to what you have to say.
I think one of the most important things that we can do to instill trust in our stakeholders and those of our clients is really 2 things. To make sure that the promises we make are consistent with our DNA, and then to make sure that the actions that we take are consistent with those promises. We have to follow through on our word, and our word has to be genuine to the brand. And if we do those 2 things, I think we can eat away at this trust issue that's been nagging a lot of institutions.
I think one of the most important things in establishing trust with stakeholders is building relationships. So regardless of which stakeholder it is, continued outreach, transparency, ongoing discussion is really important.
So at the National Association of Manufacturers, we are a member-driven organization, and relationships are the most important factor in engaging your stakeholders. And I think we do a really good job of that. We also make sure that we are looking at how we communicate with them. We're not communicating with them in one way, we're engaging them, and there's 2-way communication. So that does allow us to gain that credibility so that they do know when we are speaking out that it is coming from us and what we really want them to take away from that.
What we're doing to help ensure that there's stakeholder trust within our organization and among our key publics is we're starting off with a message that's grounded in authenticity and communicating in a transparent way. At the end of the day, some people may like your message, some people may not like your message, but if you're starting off in an authentic place that resonates with your values and you're able to explain your actions and decisions in a logical manner, then it puts you on solid footing.